gentlemen, thank you for tuning in
Soul Connect
to another episode of the Labor Lounge. We appreciate you. Labor Lounge, that's right, we been working out. All that issue can't talk at work, we can talk about. Labor Lounge, I ain't gonna argue with ya. I'ma hit you with these facts so that you can get the picture. Hey, big man got the plan, professor got the execution. KBC is clutch, holding up the Constitution. Together we combine to bring quality content, good conversation. You don't even know where the time went. So call the pastor, call the deacon, call the good girls or call the heathens. It don't even matter, call them if they breathing. Ain't no excuse for you to be sleeping. Tell them to tune in when it reaches the weekend. Saturday nights at 11 Eastern to where you gonna be? Oh, I'm gonna be over here listening to the Labor Lounge. Them boys, they gon' work it out. All that issue can't talk at work, we can talk about. Labor Lounge. I ain't gonna argue with you. I'ma hit you with these facts so that you can get the picture.
Hey, welcome back to the Labor Lounge. We got another show for you tonight. We got somebody here, another special guest star. We gonna get ready to bring up the crew before we get into that. But we got an exciting show for you tonight. But before we even get into that, I need everybody to stop, take a minute, subscribe to the channel, like, share, tell a friend. We in this business. We serving the people that serve the people. We appreciate everything that you do. Without further ado, we gonna go ahead and bring up the cast. We got K Dot coming to the building. Salute to you. What's up? How you feeling tonight?
Good, baby. Good.
My man. And then we got none other than the professor. Shout out to you. How you doing tonight, my boy?
Always doing great. Always doing lovely. I'm feeling marvelous, baby. Let's get it.
On time, every time. How y'all boys is, man? Listen, we got a special show tonight. We got a special guest, and I like when we got a special guest because we always get to bring something new to the table, right? And tonight we actually got somebody who don't work for nobody, bro. She worked for herself, entrepreneur. That's what I'm talking about.
Hey.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit different, but with all that being said, she was able to do some things to get out of the regular 9-to-5 type of workforce. So we go hear all about that tonight. Are y'all boys excited?
Yeah.
You already know. Know.
So without further ado, Professor, I'm gonna go ahead and let you bring them on, man. Go ahead and do your thing.
All right. Labor Lounge, we appreciate you. Thank you for your participation. Like Big Man said, you could be anywhere, but you here with us today. Want to go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsors, Soul Connect, for bringing us that wonderful intro. Go ahead and please visit them at www.soulkonnect. Once again, www.soulkonnect. Yes, sir. And once again, we got our wonderful guests with the expertise over here in the Harmony House. Without further ado, put your hands together for Christina.
Hey guys, hey y'all.
Yeah.
How you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you.
Thank you.
So let's go ahead and jump right into the meat of the stuff. Won't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into the meat of the conversation?
Okay. No. Are we talking personal or my business? Because we can go both ways with this.
Yeah, we could go both ways with it, but you know what? It's your choice, right? So let's start with a little bit of personal. Who are you?
Who am I? Christina Callahan. That's me. Owner, CEO of Harmony House Day Program. I have a love for those with intellectual disabilities, so I decided to start a small business for it, and it just took off and grew. And that's me. That's me. Kind, loving, caring. A little bit of ratchet thrown in there, but a lot of sophistication all in the mix.
I think a little bit of ratchet is good for everybody because I got a little bit myself, right?
There you go.
Like, it's that car crash. You know you're trying to get to where you're going, but you still slow down just to kind of see what's going on.
Little bit of rubbernecking.
Little bit of rubbernecking. Hey, listen, ain't nothing wrong with that. So talk to us. I still want to get to know a little bit more about you. So talk to us about some of your leisure activities that you participate in.
All right, where we gonna start? You know what?
Let's start with the ratchet.
We're gonna start with the ratchet. A little bit of ratchet. Nah, so my big thing is here living in Atlanta is rooftops, right? I have a new love for rooftops. Anytime a new rooftop opens up in Atlanta, I am there. So that's my new thing now. Finding new rooftops like on Instagram and Facebook. That's my thing. A good rooftop, a good vibe, a nice good cocktail. That's the ratchet right
Can't
there.
go
That's the
wrong.
way to just kind of relax and
Now-
let go of the week.
Now, see, that's interesting, right?
Uh-huh.
So, what's your cocktail of choice? That's the question, right?
You know what? I don't have a particular one. I don't. When I go to the bar, right? This is what I do when I go to the bar. If it's a place I've never been, I like to ask the bartender, what's your favorite drink to make? And make it. And I don't ask them what's in it. I don't ask them, I let them make it. And I like to see what people, because when you tell them that, they put their soul in it. And it's a good drink. So it could be light, it could be dark. I don't care. Just put your soul in it. And that's my favorite cocktail. Put your
And I tell you
soul, put your
something,
soul in that drink. Because if I have
bar,
a moment, every bar
I go to going forward, that is exactly how I'm gonna move. That sounds like some boss stuff, right?
Let me tell you. And before you go to the bar, right, I sit back. So it's a process because I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna see who's going to what bartender, right? I'm gonna watch the crowd at the bar. Make me your favorite drink. It don't even have to have a name. It don't even have to have a name. Just make me your favorite drink. And when they say, what do you like? It don't matter what I like. Make me your favorite drink. That person gonna be happy. They soul gonna be in that drink. I done drink plenty of stuff that I had to call Uber because I can't make it home because I ain't asked no questions about what was in that drink and had a little too much. But it don't matter. It don't matter. I got Uber. It's okay. I got home. I got Uber. It's all right.
So since we on the topic,
give me a double dose of harmony.
For real. So since we on the topic, won't you go ahead and give us one of them crazy stories about when you had that drink, you didn't know what was in that drink and where you ended up? You might as well go ahead and share that up front right now.
I will share that. I'm gonna keep it PG though, but I'm gonna share it because my daddy might be listening.
Our channel is PG-13.
Okay, that's fine. There we go. You know what? This was this last summer. There's this rooftop here called LOA, Leave of Absence, right? And I go there. They have a real cool swimming pool, right? So it's a restaurant, got a swimming pool. You go out, and I do the same thing. Go to the bartender, make me your drink from the soul, and she made me that drink, and I drank 3 or 4 of them, or 4. I don't know, but all I know is I couldn't make it home, so I had to Uber from downtown to East Atlanta. I had to Uber everywhere to East Atlanta. That was a nice Uber. It was a nice ride. It was a nice bill. Right? It was chill. It was people, and it was a nice
look like this.
A nice price. You know what? It wasn't. So when I got in there, it was a lady. I get in there as a lady, and she's like, you look real nice. Where you going from? And I was like, hey, listen, girl, this is what I'm glad. It's a woman. So I skipped a couple guys. I'm like, no, I need a lady. And she's like, I got you. It's just cool. And I was like, yeah, I don't know what was in that drink, but man, I got to get home. And she put on some scissor because she was like, how you feeling? And I was like, you got some scissor. And she put on some scissor. And we just rolled out the scissor, and she didn't really say much. And that was the Uber ride. It was great.
Wow. All you need is a little scissor and a little drink, and you're good to go.
And I'm good to go. We smooth sailing. That's when I'm in a cool mode. But sometimes, it's money bag yo and a little baby. And if I'm really amped and up there, it's Glorilla, because who don't like Glow?
She said Glorilla. I just found out who that was, right?
Did you? I am a huge fan of her.
I just found out who Glorilla was, and I think on the last show I had told the team, I said if I drink that white liquor and listen to Jeezy, I know El Chapo and everybody in the world. I feel like I've been touching bricks all my life.
You know what? That last Jeezy album made me feel like I'm in a trap house too. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I'm out there water whipping.
Shout out to Jeezy. Hey, listen, Jeezy done came a long way, and he got me through my overnight shifts back in 2005, 2006. So yeah, I respect that.
I'm with you. I'm pulling out the Pyrex dishes. I don't even have Pyrex dishes. Had to order some off Amazon. I don't even have Pyrex dishes.
Let's not divulge too much. Let's try to get back to harmony.
Look at the flick of that red, boy. Yo, I love it. So, you know what? Let's get into a little bit of the meat, as Mr. Big Man said over there. Mm-hmm. What is Harmony House?
Harmony House is a safe haven for young adults with intellectual disabilities. Right now, in particular, I focus on those that are on the higher spectrum of like autism and Down syndrome, but it's a safe haven. And so when I started it, it was literally to look for a place for my brother who has autism, right? And if you guys know anything about it, dealing with a child with special needs or a sibling with special needs, sometimes it's hard to find services, right? Or funding, or a combination of both. And sometimes once you find that service, you may not have the funding, or if you got the funding, you don't have the service. So we were in that situation, right? It's tough, and I didn't know how hard it was until I kind of took over from my mom, and then it's like it's a lot of work. It's like a full-time job to find funding in the place. So we finally get funding. We finally find a place, and I think this place is great. And no shade to any other program, but on paper they looked amazing. But they were doing something like I like to call it warehousing, where it's just like you're just trying to get as many bodies as you can in your facility. I don't know if it's
Seems
just
very
for
distant
profit.
and personal.
Yeah, and so you have this list of stuff, and on paper, it looks good. Like I'm betting it, like, man, I'm gonna send my brother here, and he's excited. He sees people he went to school with, and then after like a while, I'm like, hey, well, what'd you do? And he's like, oh yeah, we just did crossword puzzles. What? And he's like, but I like it, and I'm like, all right, I'm not feeling it. And then he said something to me. He said, well, all my friends are there, and I was like, I know, but then I get a bill for like $1,400, and I'm like, $1,400. And all you did was sit there. Like we have better cable than them. I don't understand. Like our Xfinity is popping. Like I don't understand. Wow, what?
That's an expensive like daycare center.
Yeah, and so I couldn't understand. And I was like, and out of frustration, I remember looking at it, and I remember saying to my mom, like, man, I could do this. Just out of frustration, she was like, you can. And I was like, wait, what? Huh? You're absolutely right. Because I said, if I'm frustrated like this, how many other people are in the same boat as me? How many other people can't find services, can't find what they're needing? So that's literally how it got started, just out of frustration of trying to find help for my brother. And I knew really nothing about the business, just other than taking care of my brother. And I learned it from the ground up. Went to meetings, got in contact with people who were doing it. At the time I was working at State Farm, knew a couple girls that were finishing up in the same field, and they put me in kind of the right places in front of the right people. And that's how it got started.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's an awesome background on the Harmony House. Now, what did you do before you actually started the Harmony House?
What didn't I do? What didn't I do? Sold insurance, property and casualty, right? Worked at good old State Farm, left State Farm, worked for an agency. And before insurance, I was actually a college professor at a military college, out of all places.
Wow. So being a professor in that type of environment sounds like a good place to be, especially when you're working for the government. You're going to get paid what you're supposed to get paid. What made you transition from there away from that?
You mean from going to government to Harmony House, or?
Well, leaving the government, because I didn't know at what period in time you were being a professor, if that was before the insurance, during the insurance, or
it was, it was a little bit of both. So because it was for military college, it actually wasn't working for the government at all. Like I'm straight civilian. I think I was like one of 3 that actually had never served in the service that taught there. But what made me transition was I needed a little bit more freedom for my son, because I came in pregnant, and he was small. And so going into insurance kind of gave me that space. But you know what? Going into insurance prepared me to work my business. I never thought about that, but it actually kind of helps me.
Give you the structure?
It gave me the structure, the sales techniques, a lot of the same sales techniques that I learned selling insurance. It's the same stuff that I use now, especially when I work with an independent agent and having to go out and get your own leads and following up with people. Same stuff. Same stuff.
I see. Now, big man, it looked like you wanted to go ahead and chime in. Was there something you wanted to say or not? Hit your mic.
Yeah, because it seemed like with your brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like you had a career path. You was a professor, obviously, right? So there was a streamlined path. But then you found that there was a need for something. And I think it's always interesting because, I remember the professor putting something out on Facebook one time where he said, what's a problem that you have that you wish you could solve? Right. And I knew he was fishing for something, and I had hit him sidebar like, yo, I see what you're doing. Right. So you obviously found something where there was a need, a hole to be filled. So now that you're there, where do you see yourself taking this? What is it that you're looking to accomplish with the Harmony House?
When I initially started, it was literally to find a safe place for families to be able to comfortably to live their loved ones with me, right? Just to go out, do events, but I wanted top tier events, not just, and no knock to anyone who does this, but I didn't want to just say, hey, we went to Five Below or we went to the Dollar Tree. No, we're going to Hawks games. We're going to Falcons games. We're going hiking. We are out literally in the community having these experiences. I took my crew to Hibachi for the first, they had never been to Hibachi. It was the most amazing experience ever to watch them when the fire pulled up on the grill. But the next step, and what I'm actually in the process of currently working, is not to just have this day program, but to have a full service where young adults can really thrive and flourish. So I started a bowling league this past summer, and we're going to do it every quarter. It was about 30, 40 participants that I had. It was my first bowling league. I didn't, I just threw something out there to see what happens, but I got a great partnership with AMF Bowling, and we bowl. We got a great rate by the other day programs, and it was a great mixture. And from that, when I was working with them and just seeing a lot of people, they were really excited. Like, man, I get to see, I haven't seen this person since high school. I haven't did this, and I'm meeting people. And someone says, I wish we could just do a little bit more. And I was like, what you mean? Like, we want to go out a little bit more. And I was like, well, okay. And I thought about it, and I said, well, dang, I'm gonna do a dance. I'm gonna have a dance, right? So I had a dance. It came to me, and in 2-3 weeks, I had a dance. We had a glow in the dark party. I had a whole DJ, and I told DJ, I was like, just make it hype. That's all I need. I just need to be hype. And it was dope. We had a whole dance battle going on. People showed up. It was a whole vibe. So from that, I thought, you know what? When I talk to the guys in my program and some of the girls, they want to do stuff that their normal peers do, right? But one guy said it's a little hard for him because if he goes to meet a woman, if he goes to a club, if she doesn't understand autism, she won't understand where he's coming from. So he's very high functioning. He has a job, he drives a car, but he's talking to a woman, it only goes so far. Or he gets real bad anxiety, right? Because he has autism. And so I said, well, what if I just create an atmosphere for him and peers like him? So the whole concept of the dance was to bring your local kind of regular club scene to this community, just minus the hookah and the liquor. Nothing against hookah and the liquor. It's just from the insurance standpoint, it's a little rough. I don't want that liability.
Hey, forward thinking.
I'm not there yet, but that was the whole gist. So for Harmony House, it's not just a day program. It's going to be a whole social atmosphere for those. So for those who maybe can't attend my program, you can't come to my program, but you can come to these dances that we have once a month. You can come to this bowling league that we have every quarter. That way you can get out and socialize with your peers.
Now, I saw when I was leading up to this interview, I saw one of your, I don't want to misquote if it was Instagram or TikTok, but I saw the young man who was out there dancing. He had the
boy, he was getting
you know what I'm talking about? So I gotta imagine that man was having a great time. So obviously you're making a huge impact with the people you surround yourself with. So I think what you're doing is dope. Obviously you got it. You're coming from something that's personal, right? And I think when you come from a personal place, you obviously put your all into it, and you kind of understand what it takes to get the impact that you're looking for. So that's awesome, man.
Thank you. I know the gentleman you're talking about. He is always hype. That is our hype man. When we go to Falcons games or we are at the Hawks game, people love us. So how I'm branded now, my crew is branded. So when Harmony House comes through, we are in neon green shirts, neon orange. We are bright. It's across everybody's chest. We come through deep. And then don't let them play Migos. My whole
Oh.
crew will lose it. Don't let me go.
Atlanta through and through.
Yeah, they are Atlanta.
Say hasta luego.
Don't let Migos come on or any type of Atlanta art. Like they gonna show love, and people just like, what's Harmony House? Who are y'all? What's going on here? Like it's a whole good vibe. I like to invite people out just to see like what we do because it's a whole vibe.
That's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
So you could kind of say that a lot of those interactions would be your relatable ground level impact, or what do you think from the time that you've started it up until now? What kind of growth have you seen, and what does that look like for you?
My growth has been amazing. So when I started, and I'll give you a backstory. So when I told you, I was frustrated by my brother, I thought about the idea in 2019. The very end of 2019, I was like, I'm going to do it. 2020, I registered my business with the state. And then I was looking to get these contracts, these government contracts. And then the world shut down, COVID, right? But before then, before COVID, I was struggling to get someone to pick up a phone and call me, like return an email, like nobody would call me. But when COVID shut down and people were able to work from home, now people had to show productivity, right? Everybody called me back. Contracts lined up, right? So I was like, what a blessing, but the world still shut down. What am I going to do with this? Like, we're closed. But when Georgia opened up, I was like, here we go. Here we go. So I took my brother, one of his good friends, and we just started doing stuff around the city, whatever was open in Atlanta, like taking the trolley train or whatever it was. And I just documented everything, right? I had so many pictures and reels and little videos that I did. And one of my good friends came and my good friend Tori, shout out to him. He came and he helped me. He's like, I like your vision. I see where you're going. And we would just record, just the two of them. It was just the two of them. And I would take that information and send it out to like the people. Hey, thank y'all for sending whoever y'all sent to me. And they hadn't sent me anybody. Like nobody had called my phone. But I'd be like, hey, some people call me and thank y'all. And here's some pictures of what we're doing. I would send these to the caseworkers. So now I'm in the forefront of their head. So now when parents start feeling a little bit more comfortable and they want their loved ones out in the community, who's the first person that they're calling? It was me. While all the other day programs that were much bigger had to be shut down because day programs couldn't open up. But technically, I was so small. I was under the radar. Nobody was checking for me. These other places had facilities. I didn't have a facility, right? So my whole goal coming in, I was like, I'm going to get a facility. I'm going to do this. I'm mobile. I don't have a facility. And even though I've grown, I still don't have a facility. And I kind of don't want one because being mobile works for me. That sets me apart from everybody else. Less overhead. But it started out with just the two of them. And then I got another one, the word of mouth. And then people started finding me on Instagram and Facebook and Google and the TikToks and just word of mouth. And then now I'm up to, actually, I just signed a client, a participant today. Wow. Earlier today.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I just brought on another person today. So, it's growing super fast. And honestly, I believe by next year, I have to have a building. I'm going to that because I'm at my capacity just about right now. Like I'm hitting my capacity. I've signed on 2 young ladies, and then I have 2 more other participants that are pending. So once that happens, I'm kind of tapped out, and I'm going to have to expand to that next level.
I can imagine how you feel because whenever I see that email that I got a new subscriber,
right?
Look, listen, big man knows it doesn't matter who the subscriber came from. In my spirit, I feel like I brought them all, and I'll be happy as hell. When I be coming over here, I'm like, listen, don't pay attention to me because I'm excited as hell. But these are all of my subscribers, and they're their subscribers, most of them. He's calling out names, and they're people I don't know. But it's like I brought them here.
I love it.
Hey, subscribe to the channel, man. Stop playing.
That's right. Like, share, and subscribe. Do all of that.
There you go.
So
absolutely.
So do you work with like volunteers or employees?
So right now it's just myself. Again, with the growth next year, it's going to have to be some employees that are going to have to come in. I do have volunteers. So when I started the bowling league, like case in point, I just put it out there on Facebook, Instagram. Just I was so excited that I got the little contract with AMF. I won't say the little because it was major to me, but I got the contract. And I just put it out there like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Someone
you made the first Instagram page.
You were with me when I made the first one.
So you dropped it, I follow.
I appreciate that. So I put the post out there, just sharing it, like telling people this is what I'm doing. A young lady who is a special ed teacher, who I know, she wrote me. She said, "Hey, I'm going to come out and volunteer. I'm going to come on this date. I'm a volunteer." She shared it, and from that share, I got 3 more other volunteers from people who saw it, who liked what she was, and they were like, "Well, if she's volunteering, you got to be good," and they came along. So I have people that will call, that will say, "Hey, can we volunteer? Can we come out?" Which is great, but everyone can't volunteer. I appreciate it, but some people just can't.
So is there a minimum bar here that we have to? I mean, obviously there would be some type of qualifications for you to be, you know, in this proximity to try to aid individuals, right? You know, you got to have the mindset and some type of qualifications to be like, you know what, let me go help. And some people are just like, yeah, I could go ahead and help them out. Let's throw a party. And they're like, whoa.
So
bang it on up.
That example that you gave, and I have a perfect story about that. So most of the people that offer to volunteer, right, are usually like special need teachers, somewhat like parents who have special need kids. There's some way, shape, or form in the industry, right? I have college students that are like therapists or whatever. They're studying to be therapists. They're in the field, so they meet the qualifications. But we were at a bowling alley one day, and again, our vibe. I told you play Migos, they play Migos. My crew goes crazy. And so someone walked over, "Oh man, you know, what is it, Harmony House?" And he's asking. I tell him, he goes back to his group. Guy comes over drunk. "Oh man, I like it. Like just like how you talk, that's how he came to me." And I was like, I appreciate it. Yeah, they can come and volunteer with me at the graveyard.
No.
He was he did the graves, like he worked the machine.
You work at the graveyard.
It was cool, but we're not doing that, sir, and you're drunk.
Please,
like,
sir.
You're drunk. Like, we're not. He's like, "Yeah, y'all can come at night."
All I need is for somebody to be like, "Hey, want to see a dead body?" Oh, bro, just calm down. Just calm down. Okay, this is not that kind of party, okay, sir?
Sometimes you get that. I was at a Hawks game once. You know, people get excited, but they're also intoxicated. Yeah, we'll come volunteer. Oh, maybe if you weren't drunk. Maybe if you weren't drunk, sir. Just follow my Instagram and DM me tomorrow.
But you know what, man? It's like, I'm going to tell you like this, right? Everybody is real, right? We all go ahead and get intoxicated. There are some people that know how to turn it off, even when you're going ahead and drinking, right? So it's like, look, even if somebody has been drinking and they heard this from you, right? The person that is the sane individual is going to be like, "Oh, listen, this is me in my comfortable setting, but I would love to go ahead and volunteer and, you know, come in and help. You know, how could I go ahead and contribute?" You know, that type of approach, even though you had a drink or two, is much more effective than coming and just being your drink self, you know? And I think that's kind of what differentiates, like, yeah, I don't know if you're a good fit. You can't even pretend with me right now. Like, this is a lot, you know? So I get it. I definitely get it.
Yeah. It's it's weird. And I appreciate it. I appreciate that someone would look at something that I created and say, I want to be a part of it, whether or not they're a good fit. Like I still it's flattering, and I'm happy, because you could just walk past and be like, or not ask. So I'm still, happy that you would want to, even though, you smell like you just smell like straight alcohol. It's okay. I get it. It's okay.
It's crazy. So the goal is from this, right? It's twofold. I remember in my working history, right? We used to always have to ask for donations. And one particular company that I worked for, we always had to ask for MDA donations, Muscular Dystrophy Association. I don't know if you know about what that is, right? Do you see yourself trying to get into maybe some of these retailers to where they help you and kind of and push what it is that you're doing to get donations from that type of standpoint?
You know what? I hadn't thought. So I do have sponsors, but You are the second person today that has brought that up to me. So now I'm on it. I'm
There you
on
go.
it. I'm gonna have some next year.
And that's why we're here, right? Because
you are
I
the second
remember
person. Yeah.
I've been doing what I do in this field for about 18 years, right? I'm on my road to 20, right? I think 20 is when people say, "Oh yeah, you're a professional in that field." And we ask for these donations, and people donate just because we're asking them to donate. They really don't understand what the cause is going to. And I think if we can really build a platform to where people understand what the Harmony House does and what the benefits behind it actually are, right? And I think you're one of those people who can actually tell that story, because not only are you providing this service, you have a personal experience to really go along with that. And I think that's what really makes this special, right? Because you have something that most people don't have. It's not just a business, this is personal. You've seen the impacts of not being able to have a program like this. So what you're providing to people is that problem being solved, and who better to do it than somebody who understands what people are really going through. So like, I'm invested in it. So I would say at this point, how do people get in contact with you? How do they find you? How do they support you in the Harmony House?
Shameless plug. Here you go. So always my website, harmonyhousedayprogram.com. Harmony House Day Program on Facebook and on Instagram. Always, I check my DMs, I read my DMs, or you can just straight up call me 470-708-4678. I always have my phone on me, literally, always.
Throw that phone number back out there again.
Yep, 470-708-4678.
That's what I'm
That
talking
goes right to me. I always have that phone with me. You will always get me.
And I think that's really what it boils down to. So here at the Labor Lounge, I appreciate you hanging out with us, right? Because this is the Labor Lounge. We supporting the people who serve people, and I think it's important, right? The reason this channel even came about is because, like I say, I'm on my 18th year. I've been dealing with the public for a very long time. I've been cussed out, spit on, all kind of stuff, right? I've had to deal with everything people think is nasty out here in this field, right? And I don't think people get the appreciation that they deserve. And for somebody like you who's out here putting the work in to provide a space that's safe for people with intellectual
disabilities. You have intellectual
disabilities. Okay, I wanted to make sure I got that right.
Yeah.
But people, it's important because it shows that we do have people out here who are trying to make a difference, right? And make it safe for everybody. It's not a selfish purpose. So I'm invested. You got my support. You got the Labor Lounge support, and I'm pretty sure everybody else on the panel feels the same.
You're damn right.
I appreciate it, guys.
I got a question, right? And when it comes, so earlier I made a mention and I said mental challenges, right? Or mental, I forget what the word that I said. And you corrected me, rightfully so. You said intellectual disabilities, right? Now, I would imagine that this happens more often than not. How do you deal with those situations in the most constructive way?
Just as simple. I say, hey, this is more on the intellectual side, but they go hand in hand. So it's not offensive to me per se, but to those that may have autism. Just because you have autism doesn't necessarily mean you have some type of mental disability, in a sense. So I like to just kind of correct people in a sense, but they can go hand in hand for some people. So it's not necessarily offensive. I can see how people can get those two mixed up and get those crossed, because they can blend together, and that line can be very thin for certain individuals between the two.
So for people who don't know, what is it about autism would you like people to actually know that are watching this show? Like, because for the layman's individual, right? We look at things in a casual sense. So it's like, people are just walking, doing their jobs and doing their business. They don't mean to be offensive, but they're just applying their energy towards other things, right? So for people that are everyday individuals, if you could go ahead and communicate something to them, what would it be about autism, or give them a little bit of knowledge about autism?
I will say that autism comes on a very wide spectrum. So there's no one way to kind of point it out. But if you come across a person that is on the spectrum, just be kind and be patient, especially if they are working. Um, because for sometimes it's hard just to get up and just to work a job. And if it's a service job, if it's a person who's a cashier or they're in front of the public, just take a moment. Like I know we get really busy and you just want to get through the line and get done, but that might be like you rushing that person could literally be the one thing that takes them over the top and causes them to have a breakdown. It's just be a little bit kind or a little bit patient if you can when you come across someone like that, or just in general, because you never even know if a person has autism. You could look at them and say nothing's wrong with them, and they definitely could be on the higher end of the spectrum, and you just not know. So just be a little kind, because it is some people you can maybe you can tell if you have a conversation, you'll go, okay, maybe I can see something there. But some of them have Asperger's, which is a form of autism, and it's more of a social thing where they'll operate and they'll do everything at the job, but you may want to stand at the register and have a conversation. They don't want to talk to you, or they just kind of look at you because it's more of a transaction. Come on, give me your money. like let's go through. just be a little bit more patient and calm with that person, and that will actually kind of go a long way. And a lot of times that can just save that person, because they're just trying to do they just want to do like everyone else and work a job or drive a vehicle or date. Just have a little patience.
Have you seen people that um like people who have autism and people who don't have autism, out of curiosity, right? Has anybody like engaged in that type of fashion where they're like, I have an understanding of autism. So if I want to go ahead and, let's say, for instance, date somebody who has autism, is that something that you see regularly, or is that a foreign concept? How does that work when it comes to interrelations?
So I can't speak too much on it, but I have seen it. You know what? There was a TV show that hit on it. I don't know if y'all
The
remember the
Good
show.
Doctor.
No, that is one. No, you know what? It's two. It's two. Yeah, The Good Doctor. Because that's a perfect example. And the way that gentleman was processing stuff. I have a gentleman in my group who is just like him, as smart as can be, but he is so literal.
Wow.
like you can't just say that to people now. You offended people.
You calm down, relax,
people want to fight you now.
Yeah, get out your feelings.
Yeah, because sometimes they're just so matter of fact. Like, what are you doing? And I get it. And then there was another show, Claws, with Niecy Nash, and her brother had autism and he was dating. So it happens. But again, the other person on the end who's not on the spectrum, usually is a person who has a lot of patience. Because again, you're dealing with a person they're very literal. They can be very literal, very matter of fact, very systematic. So it can work. But you just kind of have to be ready.
Understanding.
A little bit more understanding when it comes to certain things. And everybody has their quirks, just like with any type of dating. You date a person, they have quirks or whatever. Theirs may just be a little bit more intensified. A lot of people who are on the spectrum are very systematic and extremely punctual, which I love, because if I say my dance is starting at 6, they pulling up at 5:55 ready. Money in hand.
But you know what? Your dance is the hottest thing out. Like, if you were to equate this to, just me, you, and everybody else, this would be like King of Diamonds for them. They line up ready to go. They like, this is it.
You know what?
This place is lit. And that's a beautiful feeling, man.
Yeah, it was a good feeling.
I was talking to my homegirl the other day, and I was just like, this is so cool. Like, because I looked at Harmony House on my Instagram, and I seen all the interactions that everybody was having, and I was highly entertained. And me and you even have conversations,
Yeah.
and you let me know, and I'm like, what? And it's like it's almost more entertaining than my life, right?
It is.
And I said,
She said it is.
I love No, I'm gonna take it back. No.
But
I'm take
no,
it back.
don't
The
take it
professor
back
and I
at
had a
all.
conversation. The professor had a conversation outside
Look.
of this. And I was telling him some stuff, and he was like, "Dang!" And I was like, "I'm telling you, man." Like,
Hey, we was into it, right? So look, I don't take it a jab. My life is good. My life is great. I ain't mad at that. And their lives are great, and I'm happy for that too. And it made such an impact on me. I was talking to my homegirl. I'm like, yo, you should have seen it, man. My man was having a dance battle. They was going back and forth. It was wild. So I'm like, yo, man, I want to kick it with homie because he was just so lit. He was so lit, but it gave me,
Happy.
a better understanding of individuals, right? And I sat there and I was like, and I said this today, and I was like, what if it's like, how I feel, right? When I'm around negative people, right? Like I could imagine that people who are ignorant to what's going on with autism, they're probably treating people in a fashion like in a condescending kind of nature, right? Because they don't know. They're just looking and just like, what the hell's wrong with him, right? And I said, this day program puts them in an environment where they could let loose and feel regular and just be chill. And you see a real personality come out from these individuals that you probably wouldn't see happening elsewhere. And that's why I'm like looking at the Harmony House Day program, like, yo, this is it. Like, this is it. To the point where I'm sitting there and I'm talking to my homegirl. I'm like, yo, can you imagine? I was like, when you're around negative people, you get toxic energy. And I'm like, I'm a bright light. But if I'm around negative people, it's going to dim my light a little bit.
yeah.
Right?
You know what? That is true. Actually, my group has helped me on days. Some days I'm just like, we got this activity. I got to do it. I don't feel like it. And I may be feeling some kind of way. And there's a guy in my group named Kizion, and he'll come and say, "What's wrong, Miss Christina?" And he'll do a dance, and he'll say, and you can't help but laugh. I'm like, and I'm in the car, like, I can't even be mad at y'all. Let me get my life together. And you know what? Even with the dance, like I'll tell you this, like our DJ, I was explaining to him like what it is that I do and my vision, and it was my first dance and blah blah blah. And he told me at the end, he was like, "Man, they gave me energy." Like he was like, they were hyping me up to see them dance. And he was like, "Man, when the dance battle broke out," he was like, "I was DJing harder." And I was like, "Yeah, I saw you. I had to have the volunteer." He was like, "Cause I was like, I got to keep this going. Like I created the vibe that they created, and we just all on the vibe." And yeah, it was because you know what, they don't have a lot of the outlets. And one thing that I wanted to bring when I do my dances, when I do the bowling league, is that a lot of people, when they see someone with disabilities or a group of people with disabilities, they kind of just give them whatever, bare minimum. You're not getting bare minimum at Harmony House. You're going to get elite. Okay. So if the bar is here, we're taking it up here. And if it's up here, we're going to take it to the atmosphere, because they're not getting just subpar whatever. We are getting the best of the best when people send their loved ones to me. If we go out, the service is a little, I always try to let them know ahead of time, hey, this group is still a patient needs. We got this going on. But if our service is subpar, can we get another server? We're not going to do that, because they're paying money just like everybody else. Don't mistreat them, not fill their drinks because they have special needs, or you're going to fill their drinks too. Right. Everyone's cup's going to be full over here at Harmony House. We don't play that. So I want the experience of that. So when you come to a dance, it needs to be elite. The DJ needs to be popping. The scenery needs to be great. You need to have a good time, because you're spending money or whatever to come. You're taking your time out. Your parents are taking time out to bring you here.
Absolutely.
It needs to be a good time. They're afforded
the same things that anyone else would be afforded, right?
That's right.
And it's good that they got somebody standing on that. So, I mean, I'm looking at all of this, right? Mm-hmm. And I just kind of lost my train of thought. But damn, the question left just that quick.
It's okay.
I'm gonna let you sit there, but I'm gonna ask her this, right? In the intro.
Go ahead, because I had a question.
I got you. Say less, baby. I'm here to the rescue. So, look, when it comes to intoxication and autism, right? Mm-hmm. What does that look like, right? Because in my thought process, and this is just me being ignorant to this, I'd be like, that doesn't mix, keep them away, whatever. Like, Tell us what that looks like for you.
Intoxicate, like, so with alcohol and okay.
I never even thought about that.
So I don't entertain that because again, it's a day program.
Right.
First, there are some parents who will allow, their loved ones to drink.
Hmm.
That's up to the parent.
Okay.
I don't let them partake in it, even though everyone is of age in my program. I
Yeah.
don't. Some of them, their parents do. Some don't. We just not gonna cross that line.
That's
Um,
smart.
yeah, because if one does it, I
Then
can't
all
tell
would
this
do it.
one why you can't order your Douce and Coke, which we had that happen. We had that happen. We were at a game and someone said, and so my guys, they're very independent. So, they just clean, I'm gonna go to the restroom, I'm just gonna go give me a hot dog. Okay, whatever, where it is, you come back, whatever. They can operate on their own. Everyone has their debit cards, they can swipe, whatever. Keep it going. So someone goes, I'm going to the restroom and get me something to drink. I didn't think nothing of it. But he comes back with the little plastic cup and I looked and I was like, is that Hennessy? And he corrected me, no, it's Douce. Either way, either way, what? So now I'm sitting here like, I gotta text his mama because you didn't drink, like the cup. And so now I gotta ask, well, how was it? Like, who made it? Because it looked like it was good, and he broke it down. He was drinking it so casually. He had a little sweat, and I was, hey, but who made it? Like, where'd you go? And then and he's like, well, I got a double.
Oh.
Yeah.
I almost want to ask the question, like, how he even know about Douce? Did he walk up and say he want a cup of Douce, or did he just say, give me something to drink?
No, it's his drink of choice. He was like, because I asked him, what else do you like drink? He said, sometimes I drink Crown, but I like Douce. And if they don't have Douce, I'll take VSOP. Okay, you drink. But
I'm sitting here
and I didn't know this. It's something new every day, right? So now I'm sitting here like, well, I got to tell his mom because he didn't drink all the drink at this point. He drank all the. So I'm like, well, I got to tell his mama at this point because I got to text her. So I'm like, hey, listen.
Yeah.
What happened was, but no, and I texted, she said, no, that's fine. He and I had a conversation. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention it to you. No problem. And okay, and I said, okay, well, I'm gonna cut him off at this because I'm a little uncomfortable with it. But there are some that, listen, they live very fulfilled lives as we do. Some some have kids, some are married, some have better marriages than most people. when you look at like, y'all working a whole lot better than most brothers.
Right. Tell me the tips to your success.
Yeah.
I've asked a few. I'm not even gonna lie. I know a couple. Please tell me.
Right.
What's the secrets? Because I know a couple know that they both are on the spectrum. And I think they were married. I met them not too long ago, like 16 years. Beautiful couple.
Have you ever met one of these people who maybe they have kind of like a fetish towards people who maybe have intellectual disabilities, and they might just kind of gravitate that way, or maybe they have their own trauma that they're trying to deal with, and they feel like this is the way that they can kind of handle that situation. Have you come across any of that?
A little. So that's a very real thing in the community, and you have. I'm going to say predators because that's some of them are predators. They will prey on either the men or the women for finances.
That's crazy.
I try to advocate to parents like, hey, if you can get some sort of guardianship or conservatorship over your child, because they are, you look at them as your baby. I get it as a parent. Like my son is always going to be my baby, but in reality, these are adults. So if your adult son says, I'm going to take all my money and give it to this woman, you as a mother or a father, there's nothing you can do about that. And it happens. And there are people who will prey on those in those situations who will try to take their money. I have seen women try to come on to the men, with offerings of favors to make it transactional. It is a real deal. Or people will just try to con them out of their money because a lot of times they just don't know the ways of the world. and I've seen it. I have peers in the industry who have like group homes, and someone told me a story once of how she was trying so hard to get this woman from constantly coming to her group home to take the money from one of her residents, but she's like, there's nothing I can do. I am not in conservatorship. I can't get a hold of his family. Like, this person is just literally taking his money, and she's like, it's wrong. They're using him, but there was nothing that she could ultimately do.
Yo, I got a question. When it comes to that, right? Um, why you no, you don't have the answer to that. Do you think that you will be looking in the future to providing protection for individuals with autism in situations like that? Like, speaking to um I don't know. And I'm thinking in a logical fashion, but I really don't have a path of going it. I think the first step would probably be maybe the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission. Like, hey, when somebody goes ahead and banks with these individuals here, if they happen to get scammed, what protections can you provide to prevent this type of thing? Can you ensure these types of scams or prevent it, like when somebody brings it to knowledge where it'll be a special situation so that you could deter people from trying to say, yeah, man, I'm about to bust a lick on this one right here. Like,
The only thing I think that would maybe probably stop that is if someone was creating a crime like that, is if you, in a sense, threw the book at them. Because to hold back the actual individual while you think that you may be protecting them, they're looking at it as, this is my right, and you wouldn't do it to anyone else. So because I have autism, don't put a stop on my money. And it's a little hard. It's a little hard to maybe judge, is that person scamming them, or are they really giving their money out? Like, it's such a hard thing to kind of gauge sometimes. Like, like I've seen where, like, when we were out, I've seen where people have tried to like get them, hey, can you give me $1? Can you give me this? Because you see a group, and I'm like, everybody put your wallets up. We're not doing this.
Right.
Like, when we go downtown, I'm like, put your wallets in your front pocket. Don't put them in your back pocket. We're gonna look
Right.
10 and 2. Like, it's I think it's a little hard. And then it's, you maybe cross the line of, are you infringing on people's rights, and are you helping a particular group of people, or are you attacking a particular group of people by trying to say that you're helping? Like, it's such a blurry line on how you can help that, and can you really stop it, in a sense. I protect the ones that I have with me when I can. Like, I know we have our dances. Of course, the only people that are coming in and out are staff and those that are supposed to be there. There are no outside influences. That I'm controlling that environment as much as I can. But as far as like when they leave out of my sight, there's not, there's not really much I can do other than to tell them or to advise a caretaker or a parent on, what I may see. But if they don't have if a caretaker or parent doesn't see anything wrong with it, it's like, what can you do?
So what are some of the parents? How does some of the parents feel about the program that you already?
You know what? The parents love it. Some of them want me to operate a little bit more than what I'm doing. So that's the goal for next year, as far as expansion goes, is to expand out my hours and my days, because it gives the parents a break. My job is to make things as easy as possible. So not only am I trying to, am I creating this top tier experience, but I'm making it easier for the caretakers and the parents. So I do pick up and drop off from door to door. The parents don't have to they don't have to bring them anywhere. I come and pick them up and I drop them right back off. So it's designed that way to make it simple and make it easy.
Super convenient.
Yeah. Could you imagine? I'm a parent. I got 3, right? And I've never had a babysitter. And the reason I've never had a babysitter, because I don't trust nobody. Right?
I understand that.
So now, could you imagine for the parent that has a child with the intellectual disability? Here it is. We found somebody we can trust to provide my child with a good time and know that they're cared for. That's awesome. Like, could you imagine? Just try to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. The peace of mind for them to be able to go and let loose for a minute, because from my history, I know that it's a lot of work. It's not easy. I had the pleasure of working with a young lady who, at some point, her son has a disability, and he was violent with his. So she would come to work sometimes and she'll have a black eye or she'll have bruises on her. And as a leader, you ask these questions, and in confidence, she explains to you kind of what's going on. So you try to let her have what she needs to go and be able to deal with that. But if they could find a place to where they could just get a break, just get that little bit of release, so they can just kind of take a deep breath, relax, and get back to it. I mean, that's something that's valuable. It's so valuable, because even as a parent without a child with disability, I need a break sometimes. So could you just imagine?
Right? You know what? I can, and I know where they come from. I also know that parents in this situation are very protective. I'm super protective about my brother, like
absolutely
over the top. So I already know, as a mom or dad, you're times 10, because I know how I am about my brother, and you talking about your child. So I do things when a parent calls me, they see the program, they say, hey, we like it. Great. We're going to do a meet and greet, and I'm going to come to you so you can put a face with the voice and with the company. So that way, when I pull up to your driveway and, we're outside, you feel secure that, okay, my child's going to return. I know who this person is. I've met this person. They've come in my house. They sat down. And I do that. I will come and I will sit down. And sometimes in my mind, I say, okay, this is going to be a 30-minute meet and greet. I've got stuff to do. 3 hours later, I've met the mama, the daddy, the grandma, the auntie, the uncle. Like I have been in meet and greets literally with families. And I think like the grandma called and I FaceTime and talk to the grandma. Just come on, grandma. Hey, girl. Like I have gotten into the family, and it's like, but I want them to feel comfortable with me, because it's a big deal. We are out in the city. We are doing stuff. You need to know that while we are on this hiking trail, that your child is taken care of, that they're in good hands, that I want to return them back the same way that they came. It's okay. So I do that. Even if the meet and greet takes a little longer, it's all right, because it's a form of security. And if someone would have did that for me with my brother, I would be great. I would have been like, okay, I'm okay with sending him here. I know he's going to be okay, instead of worrying. Parents will call me usually like the first time that we have the first outing. They'll call, and that's fine. I'll FaceTime them like right when we're out, if it's safe and within reason. Sometimes like, hey, we are doing this. I can't really, but I'll stop for a second. Or if I can pick up the phone and talk to them for a moment, that's fine. And then usually by that second interaction, I'll call them and I'm like, yeah, we good. You don't have to call me. It's okay. I'm out. Don't call me. and I've had a parent call, do you want to stay a little longer? It's okay to stay. You
want to take them overnight? Take them overnight. Okay.
I have had someone say that.
Cute.
I have had someone say that, and that service is coming soon as well, because parents need that overnight break. Some may need a weekend, so that service is coming as well. That's called respite, and that's coming too. That's coming too.
That so right there is going to be highly sought after. You're onto something.
Yeah, there are services that are out there for it. A lot of companies, a lot of people offer it, so that will be an extension of Harmony House as well.
So how long until we get you back on and we start talking about that piece of the program?
Oh, okay. Well, let's do it at the top of the year. Let's see.
Top of the year.
I like to set goals. Let's do it sometime in quarter 1.
You know what? Yeah, because quarter 4 just started and life is getting real hectic for your boy right now. So anybody out there who know, listen, I don't hate quarter 4, but I low-key hate quarter 4.
I'm with you. It's wrapping up and finalizing. I get it. I trust me.
Yeah, we gotta close the books out. But Christina, this interview has been real dope tonight.
Thank
man.
you.
I appreciate you coming out.
I appreciate you guys having me. This was a lot of fun. I'm coming back.
Oh no, we go get you back, and the next time we get you back, we might not talk so much about Harmony House.
We don't have to
get into that to that other side, because you started this conversation talking about the ratchet side, and we go get into that. Like, the people want to know. We all got a dark side.
The people want to know, or do y'all want to know? That's a question.
I'm the people.
You are the people. Okay.
Listen. In the labor lounge, we're in the break room. And like the professor so said in our intro, we talk about the things that you don't talk about at work.
I love
it. so politics and all that. Politics,
it.
religion, so on and so forth. All that good stuff, man.
I got
This
you.
has been dope. I appreciate you. One more time before we go ahead and get up out of here, tell the people where they can find you at, because we want to make sure that we're doing our part to support you and vice versa. So go on ahead and tell them what that is.
I appreciate it. HarmonyHouseDayProgram.com for the website, Harmony House Day Program on Facebook and also on Instagram, or 470-708-4678 is my number. Call me anytime.
Cool.
Yes. There's a need being fulfilled, and the Harmony House got the answer to the question. Once again, this has been another show here at the Labor Lounge. I'm feeling good. Y'all feeling good?
We're feeling great, baby.
All right, so we gonna go ahead and turn off the camera. Y'all go ahead, like, share, subscribe. This is the Labor Lounge. We are out here serving the people that serve people. Salute and shout out to everybody out there. Thank you once again, and we gone.
I love it.
Me too. That's the beauty of it. Labor Lounge.
I love it, y'all. This was a good time. Are we recording? Are we off?